Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. We must say a big thank you going out to the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, Sangre Grande Regional Corporation, Ministry of Works and Transport, CPAP, and the ODPMTT for their support in cleaning up Grand Riviere. Of course, we want to say a special thank you, of course, going out to Councillor Terry Rondon and the community for lending resources. And this thank you is coming along specifically from the Honourable Farisal Rawi, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. And we're going to continue the conversation about what happens during this particular time of the year. We know it's rainy season, we know it's hurricane season, we know we're expecting heavy rainfall. How can we do our part to make things go a little bit smoother for us on a personal level, for us on a country level? And this morning I want to welcome the Acting Director of Drainage at the Ministry of Works and Transport, Catherine Badlu-Durga, joining us on set this morning. Good morning, Catherine.
Well done on the pronunciation.
Well, thank you. I try my best. How are you doing?
I'm good.
It's nice to have you back again.
Nice to be back.
All right, so we're talking drainage this morning. And let's start firstly on a country level. We know the saying is every time a spoon of water drop in tongue, we're bound to get flood, right? How can we do better at making sure that our drainage system works properly so that we don't end up in those situations?
First of all, I think as a country, we all need to do better at not littering. As you can see, you see the mountains of rubbish we have to take out of the watercourses. But I mean, on a government scale, we normally do our desilting program in the dry season.
Right.
That's the best time we can do it. That's when we don't have torrential rainfall hampering everything. But we try to do what we can to make sure we have the increased capacity in the watercourses and even in the drainage along the major roads and around the country. We make sure that those are cleaned and they have the sufficient storage that we can make sure runoff is possible very, very quickly. So
then what is it? So is it that just the litter alone causes that backlog that places just start flooding immediately?
Well, we have the natural sedimentation that normally takes place, right? And with that, with our litter, it's compounded and it takes away that capacity that we usually try to keep.
Yeah.
So it's both. It's natural and it's man-made, but considerably more man-made than natural.
Right. I've seen in some countries where they have, I don't want to call it bars, but they have like a grill or something like that stops the litter from going down into the actual drain and adding to clogging. Is there anything like that we have or looking to implement anytime soon?
Certainly, we have trash racks installed throughout Port of Spain, throughout most of the normal places that we have pumping action taking place, where right before the pump house, we have to have these trash racks because if they get caught in the pumps, they destroy the pumps.
Yeah.
So we have those taking place everywhere, but we have to keep maintaining and cleaning them often.
Yeah.
More often than we usually have to because of the amount of bottles and bags getting lodged in those little holes.
Yeah.
But it's a twofold way. We have to have them, but they always try to keep back the water and because the amount of rubbish
litter,
backing up. So we have those installed in Port of Spain. There is a couple of them along the highway. I shouldn't say but I know it's really tough because the Port of Spain City Corp as well as the Ministry of Works have to keep clearing those grates on a daily basis, which is not easy. And in some cases, the water is above 8 feet that you have to go down and get those things off. So we have to have people in full-on waders to go in and then manually take it out.
Wow.
So and people keep that in their minds that we have to physically go in and take it out. It's not just a machine taking it out. It's a human.
Yeah.
So all these things need to be brought to the fore so that everybody is aware that your trash really does matter when it
So the
comes
littering
up to
is
that.
a big part of it. But let's bring it down on a micro level to me at home. Firstly, I only recently realized that there are certain things that you need to do around your house to make sure that your drainage is running properly.
Of course.
What are some of those things that are crucial to making sure that around your house water run any way it's supposed to run when rain falls?
But make sure, first of all, let's take from the top down. When rain falls, you have the water coming through your guttering.
Right.
Guttering is very important
Right.
because a lot of people, if the water just falls off their roof straight onto the ground, it starts a type of slippage happening in their own homes. So they're
Okay.
making their own trouble. So we have the proper gutter and we make sure those are cleaned. And then the drains around your home, we make sure those are clean because they tend to get, moldy and clogged and all those things. So once they have a proper grade and they can run off into the water course, the drain in front of your homes, that is
In
important.
front, not behind.
It could be behind
Okay.
too.
I wanted to know if there was a difference because it depends on the grade of the land.
Yes, because and it also depends on which direction your house is facing.
Right.
Because if you have the main road running this way on the eastern side or the western side, it doesn't matter. It could be in any direction, but make sure your runoff is not garbage going out. Remember, anything you throw down your sink and ends up to the sea. Think about it like that.
Anything you throw down your sink ends up in the sea.
Think about it.
So when you're cleaning chicken, all them chicken parts going down to the sea.
Well, I mean, I hope you're not throwing it down your sink.
Well,
you
I mean,
can clog your own sink.
if you're washing chicken in the sink, something going on go down the
Well,
drain.
that's just regular blood, but we're talking about the
Okay.
bags it comes in.
All right. So we don't want bags. We don't want anything that doesn't biodegrade, basically.
Exactly. We don't want things that don't belong in the sea in your drain. So garbage bag. That's as simple as it gets.
And what about the actual drainage? Are there recommendations? Because I know I've heard so many complaints about people who, in these developments or whatever the case is, that contractors build the property and they say that it's good, but then the minute rain starts to fall, you end up in a different situation where you might not have a proper flood, like your house not gonna flood out, but your yard might get flooded out, for example, because you don't have the drainage going the right way. How do we begin to rectify these types of situations?
But first of all, those developments need to be properly approved because a lot of those developments, when their drainage doesn't come to the drainage division or a proper approval agency.
Okay, and it's supposed to?
It's supposed to if it's
Okay.
about a certain size, but everything usually goes through your regional corporation, right?
Right.
And they would check the drainage plan. They would check the flow. They would check the grade, make sure there is an adequate capacity because more often than not, you see some drains that are only a foot wide and a foot deep, and it's supposed to be able to take at least the drainage from 5 or 6 homes at a time.
Right.
That's not very smart because most of the time those just get overwhelmed when we have torrential rainfall, and then you end up with people's homes flooding out right in front of their home because
Yeah.
it's just not flowing. That's it. So it's important to have proper design when those things come into place. And a lot of people don't think those things are necessary, but they are.
Do you guys also offer that sort of support in terms
Yes.
of design to make sure that the drainage
Well, not
works properly?
design. We do the approvals.
Okay.
So when you have your development over a certain size, the regional corporation would require drainage approval.
Okay.
So when it comes in, it goes through the planning branch and they give their final approval and they ensure that your drainage capacity is adequate for the development.
And for the whole development. All right. Well, before we wrap, any parting words that you want to make sure and leave with us? Because we're in the season and we're going to be here for a few more months. So any words of advice that you want to give the nation while you're here this morning?
Well, 2 things. Please stop littering. Please stop littering. It's an ongoing it's a problem. We're all just accustomed to tossing things. Please don't do that. Change your mindset and we'll have a lot less to deal with. And the second thing, be prepared. Preparedness is always better than not being prepared. It's better to be missing the storm that didn't pass than actually facing the storm and not surviving.
Say it again for them. Say it again, because they started complaining when we didn't get the storm.
Oh no, I was quite happy that storm didn't pass through.
I'm
But
sure it would have made your life a little bit more difficult had the storm come the way that it was
Well,
supposed to.
not just mine.
Well, of course.
Exactly.
You and your entire team. And I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning, Catherine.
Thank
and for
you for
sharing with
having
us.
us.
I think it's important, that we learn that lesson, the importance of not littering. Because every time you litter, somebody else has to go and clean up after you. clean up after yourself. Like it's not that hard. Cheese and natures. Come on, do better, Trinidad and Tobago. Catherine Badludiger, the Acting Director of Drainage at the Ministry of Works and Transport, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks
and
again
feel
for
free to
having
come
me.
back. I mean, we're here for the whole season, so anytime you have a message you need to tell the nation, feel free to come back.
Just call. I'll be here.
Will do. We'll take a quick break and come back with more. When we come back, we chat with the TTPS as we do every single Monday. Stay tuned.